we've got stories to tell, how the human race should be erased from space. We're horrible people and deserve to die. If you don't believe me, then I'll tell you why. We've caused genocides and mass extinction, humans causing bad pollution. Amazon is burning down, California's on shaky ground. Ted Cruz in Cancun, people deny the moon. Gun crime is on the rise, hypocrisy and evil lies. Leadership is on vacation, God is doing tax evasion. Police increasing jurisdiction, overdue for extinction.
Hello to all my fellow dummies, this is I, Justin, your dealer, the source, the man with the hookup. Welcome to episode 6. If you're hearing this, it means you're just as warped and demented as we are. I couldn't be happier to have you along for this journey, although I can say with confidence, I have no fucking clue where we're going. How about you, Anthony?
I'm okay. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I thought I had done something stupid enough to talk about, and then today I upped the ante on that. So if you want some dumb update, real quick, I'll tell you what happened.
Sure.
So we had small blizzards because Dairy Queen currently is doing their small blizzard for 89 or 85 cents, whatever it is, and we got blizzards the other day, and I went to finish mine last night. And I just put the spoon back in and I stuck it in the freezer and it refroze, and then it broke off when I tried to pull the spoon out of the ice cream. It was solid, and it just broke in half and left the spoon divot in there, but broke the handle. And I looked at it and I was like, well, that's really inconvenient. So I got a metal spoon. And I was like, I'll just keep eating around that little divot, and eventually, I'll take care of it when I get to the bottom of the ice cream. And so I got to the bottom where the only ice cream left was inside the scoop. And I was like, I don't want to waste that little bit of ice cream. That's perfectly good ice cream. So I took the middle spoon and I kind of scooped at it. And I went to put it in my mouth. And apparently I hadn't left the spoon divot inside the cup and stabbed myself with a shard on the broken stick. And I was like, oh, well, there it is. Before we record, I guess I have something dumb I can talk about. Like, I thought I was going to get away scot-free and be like, oh, no, it's been a boring week. But I stabbed myself with a plastic spoon shard. So to up the ante, you recommended that I listen to a couple of Tenacious D songs before we recorded because you wanted to tell me a story about D&D that was relative to those songs. And so I listened to them, and I know what Tenacious D is, or rather who they are. I've never watched or listened to them because, as we discussed, growing up in religious households, obviously anything that is sexual or dirty and full of cursing and all of that, and it obviously has the devil in it, was way out of the realm of possibility of happening in our household. So I have never watched Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. I've never listened to the music before. I'm very well versed with Jack Black. And so you had me listen to these songs, and the one song was They Fucked Our Asses. Fine, it was a 1 minute song, but when did I choose to listen to the song, Justin? On the way home with my 3 small children in the fucking car with me. I didn't even look at what the song was called. I just scrolled back through our text messages till I found where you posted the links, and I clicked on it. And the first thing that comes up is, they fucked our asses, they fucked them hard. And I just turned back real quick because Trace can obviously, he's 8, he's almost 9, he can understand what's going on. I don't think he was listening, fortunately, but I've got a parrot 4-year-old now, and if Kristen came home and she, for whatever reason, held on to those lyrics, they fucked our asses, I don't have an explanation for that. I could tell her it was because I chose a poor time to listen to that song, but I don't think that it's going to make things any better for me. So that's where I stand on everything being fucked right now.
I should have gave you a warning. I didn't think I had to.
What? No, you sent me a song called They Fucked Our Asses. I should have had all the warning I needed. I just threw it on with an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old in the back of the car. And because the car is kind of old and loud, I have to turn the radio way up to be able to hear music. So I thought, well, there's something probably relevant in the lyrics that you wanted me to hear. So I'm blasting "They fucked our asses." Children in the back seat.
Oh, don't worry. My daughter was probably about 3 or 4. One of my really good buddies, who makes and produces his own music, wrote this song about Santa Claus getting laid and getting his dick sucked, and I thought it was hilarious. And I didn't think she was old enough to, she wasn't old enough to understand what was going on. But she heard it once, and all she knew it was about Santa. So when you're like 3 or 4-year-old from the back says, "Play the Santa song," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll play the Santa song." It's great until she's just in the back playing with her toys, going, "Suck my dick." We're winning at this parenting thing.
Yeah, it was just that we have. I don't know if I know where that song is. I'll have to look real quick. Yeah, we've discussed how your daughter's demented, and she picked up the Easter eggs, and what else was it? That she made the cock and balls with.
Oh, the Easter egg and the glow sticks.
Yeah, the glow sticks.
Imitating the farm animals on her mom's property. Yeah, mating.
Yelling, "It's time to get bread." Yep, that was the moment that was the moment I was referring to. I think this is the song. Are you familiar with the song "Busted Open" by Lil Will?
I'm not.
Let me see real quick if this is the one I'm thinking of. Yep, it absolutely is. You may not have heard it, but the opening lines of the song, without a music intro, just starts straight out with the lyrics, is "Bust that pussy open, then I tell her bring it back." And then it repeats it like 3 more times. This song used to be in rotation on my saved playlist on Spotify. Mm-hmm. And I took it off immediately when Trace turned, I want to say 6 or so, because I heard him trying to mimic what he thought it was saying, and he was getting it wrong, luckily. But this song, it just comes on immediately with lyrics without anything. The first second, you hear "Bust that pussy open." Here, I'm gonna play it real quick, just the opening. Bust that pussy open, then I tell her bring it back. Bust that pussy open, then I tell her bring it back. Bust that pussy open. No warning, no music lead up to tell you what song is about to come on. And our car's Bluetooth radio has like a little lag, so like it displays the song name and artist like a second after the song has started. So it'll just be on shuffle, and the song will fucking come on. And it's too late. It's already gotten a couple of the first verses out of the way before you have a chance to turn it. So it's out of my rotation now. I had to take it off the list.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Our children are going to win in life.
I don't know what's going to happen. There's so much potential to either be warlords of some sort or to just be window lickers, and it could easily swing either way.
If I know my kid, it'll be warlord. I mean, she might lick a few windows on the way, but she won't stop till she gets to warlord.
She's gonna lick every window along the way. Oh man, I tell you what though, I'm doing enough dumb anymore that I feel like I need to dwell in other people's dumb to make myself feel better. So I hope you've picked out some good stuff for us this week.
I have. I've brought some personal submitted stories and that actually involve me as a child as well, and a couple of my own dumb stories that I think you guys will really enjoy, and you'll say, "Jesus fucking Christ, how are you alive?" Actually, that's probably should name this segment "Jesus fucking Christ, how are you still alive?"
So we're going to go back to figuring out why your daughter is fucked up and where it went wrong for you.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Good.
Hey! Watch me do a handstand! Hey! All right. First story we're going to get into is submitted by my good buddy Matt. And to know Matt and I growing up, we were like inseparable. He lived just down the road from me. And by the time we were like in 2nd or 3rd grade, probably, we were allowed to ride bikes down to each other's houses. And I mean, like, we're country neighbors. We're not like, this isn't like I went across the street. I mean, this is like I rode my bike almost a half mile, quarter to half mile. It was probably closer to a half mile down to his house, you know. But we hung out all the fucking time. We got in all kinds of fucking trouble. We did all kinds of stupid shit that if I admitted to it here, I could probably, well, we were kids, improve it. The burden of guilt's really on you to prove that we actually did any of these things. But I digress. The story he brought to us today is I had a neighbor growing up, and I'll leave him unnamed for this segment. But he was annoying, and I doubt he's going to listen to this podcast, but whatever. He was like the kid that you just wanted to bury in your backyard, and you just assumed no one was ever going to miss him. But we would always, growing up in the country, we always had guns on us. Whether it was, BB guns when we were younger. I mean, really, I think we had guns before we even had slingshots, if that says anything. We had BB guns, pellet guns, slingshots. We got older, it turned into 22 rifles and shotguns. But that's what you did out in the country. You roamed around with a fucking gun in the woods, and you shot at everything that moved because boys.
I would like to pause you real quick.
Yeah.
There is something very different about kids that grow up in the country than kids who grow up in the city. I myself consider myself to be a city boy. I like video games. I kind of like being a homebody. I like to do things in the city. If I were to go out to a friend's house in the country and they're like, we're going to go camp and do a bonfire, I'm like, that sounds like a terrible fucking time. I don't want to get eaten by mosquitoes. I'm cool with like hanging around, drinking around the fire, but eventually I want to go back inside where I can still play some video games. And growing up, I can't even remember what this fucking kid's name. We obviously didn't keep in contact, but there was a kid that I was friends with, and for whatever reason, we must have been 10 o'clock. Fuck, I should be stoned. Today's 4. We're recording on 420. It feels appropriate to get stoned, and I actually have intentions on fixing that later. But for now, I'm sober, just fucking stupid. I went to his house. I can't for the life of me remember what his name is. But his idea of a fun, let's hang out, was we watched fucking Titanic, which is not a typical, I wouldn't say it's a country kid thing. It was just something random. Where I think that might have been where I first saw my first boobs, was Titanic. And that movie was glorious, and I was kind of like bored throughout it, and then we got to the scene where she strips down from the painter, and I was like, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life. And then I waited till he went to sleep and rewatched that section again.
What's it with you? You and sleeping people and looking at porn. It's a reoccurring theme.
I would like to say people shouldn't let me be in their house alone while they're sleeping, but it sounds like a horrible thing to say. And none of that is relevant to what I'm trying to get to at all. I went on this tangent with this kid showed me Titanic and possibly my first boobs, and he became my best friend until I forgot his fucking existence until this very moment. But anyway, he had BB guns too. And I don't remember why he just had access to this BB gun without his parents like consenting to it or watching us, and we were just like in his, I don't know if it was his bedroom or a guest bedroom where we watched Titanic, and he's like, hey, you want to take some pot shots at the beaver on the ground? I was like, sure, why not? And then we shot at this beaver with, like, there was no supervision. What the fuck happens in the country that the children are just allowed to exist with guns with no supervision?
I'll tell you, I was 6 when I got my first BB gun. I had a broken arm, so I'm a lefty, but because my right arm was broken, I could only hold the gun and pull the trigger with my right arm. So yeah, 6 years old, I was given a gun. I was like, this is how you shoot it. Here's your BBs. Have fun. Don't shoot your eye out. Don't break a window. No one thought anything of it. I mean, this was the 90s, too. I don't allow my child to run around with a gun. She gets a Nerf gun because she shoots me, like, in the eye enough with that thing, let alone giving her something that would do some damage. But anyway.
Yeah, you get shot in the nuts. You'd rather be a soft foam dart and not a third ball.
Right. Right. So So Matt and I and this other neighbor, we were roaming around. It was an old clubhouse area, and one of the neighbors that lives up on the hill now was in the process of building a house, and we were rather pissed off because this was our clubhouse area, and some fucking dickhole is gonna put a house there. So, yeah, we caused some trouble up there. I won't get into that. He knows what we did. He's not happy
He
about
knows.
it, I'm sure. He knows.
He remembers.
The old man remembers, and Matt, I'm sure, remembers everything we did. Anyway, Matt was dead sure that the BB gun was empty because once you got down to the last one in the chamber, it didn't rattle anymore, so it didn't sound there was in the BBs, and he thought it was empty. And he's like, he pumps it, and he just figures it's compressed air, and he hands it over to this kid that we can't stand, trying to get him to shoot himself.
Jesus Christ. You said he was the kind of kid that you wanted to bury in the backyard. You didn't tell me you actually tried to get him to shoot himself so you could bury him in the backyard.
He wouldn't do it. This other kid, he wouldn't do it. But Matt, to prove himself that this gun was indeed empty, puts it up to his stomach and then pulls the trigger. And I remember arguing with him for like 5 minutes. I'm like, dude, there's one last BB in there. I'm like, you need to shoot this thing one more time, and then you can, pull this prank. Dead set against it. It was fucking empty. Well, I was right. It wasn't empty. There was one more BB in there.
It was when you got finished with it.
Luckily, I mean, it was an old Daisy, so I mean, if I don't know, people know, like, when you're shooting guns, like, right out of the barrel, point blank, really is, I mean, with a BB, I mean, I'm not suggesting anyone go test this theory out with anything stronger. It broke the skin, but it didn't go, in or anything. It just, broke the skin, bruised it, maybe a little blood, and then, just hit the ground, and it was null and void. But out of all the things that, and I recently got back in contact with Matt, and I'm very grateful for that. But as he's listening to this podcast, and he's like, man, I got a story. He's like, this is one of the things I remember about us being kids. It was shooting himself with a gun.
So, that probably stays with you for a while.
So you think to yourself, man, God, Justin, you guys that's kind of crazy, we had BB wars. Have you ever had a BB gun war or a pellet gun war?
No, I can't say we did, ever.
So instead of using an airsoft or a paintball gun or a Nerf gun, we used to have BB gun wars or pellet gun wars when we got older, where we just set up ramparts and hide behind them and run throughout the woods and shoot guns at each other for fun.
Justin, I played Pokemon and traded with my friends. That's what I did for fun. Why are you shooting at your friends?
Because it was fun. And you're thinking to yourself, God, this kid couldn't... This guy, how is he still alive? So it didn't stop it there. You're familiar with the game Capture the Flag, right?
Yes.
So, we used to play outside and, like I said, in the woods. And we had acres upon acres to hide this flag. Well, after you play the game so many times, you get bored. So, not only did we have access to guns, we had access to machetes that we frequently took into the woods with us, like every good country boy does, to cut down trees and make firewood and carve spears and everything else you do as a country boy growing up.
As you do.
So instead, we decided that tapping each other with your hands was boring. We're gonna start running with machetes and then swing them at each other.
Yeah, why not? Why not at this point?
So I can't tell you how many times I remember sliding on my knees across the gravel driveway, because that was the line where, this is my side, that's your side. Matrix style, leaning back, just this machete just barely missing my chin, being swung at full speed by someone else. But wait, there's more.
Oh God.
So, have you ever, as a kid, gone in the woods and you find sticks, and then you use them as a staff, and you fight each other with sticks like they're swords. Okay. Well, we used to climb the saplings first. We'd find a good sapling that was like 10 or 15 feet, and two things. We called it sapling riding. So you get about 15 feet up into a tree, and it starts to like bend over, right? And the people on the ground would cut the tree down while you're about 15 feet in the air, and you'd ride it to the ground. And then we would proceed to make spears. And if we got lucky, the root ball would come up out of these little saplings. They're like 3-4 inches round, no bigger. I mean, a lot of them are probably like 2 inches round. And so when the roots come out, they make a really nice club on one end. So we cut spears into the other end. And instead of playing swords like normal kids, we would swing giant bludgeon root balls at each other. And if we couldn't hit each other, we'd turn them around and chuck spears at each other.
Hey, Justin, I like to ride bikes with my friends. I enjoyed going to their house and watching TV or playing video games. Occasionally, we would like to go on small adventures, but not venture too far from the house because we didn't want to be in dangerous areas, where things could happen and nobody would hear. Occasionally, we would do something crazy like light a small pile of twigs on fire. Justin, we weren't trying to kill each other. What the fuck were you doing in your childhood?
That was fun. That was fun. That was what we did.
It's fun until you end up with a body.
Luckily, we never ended up with a body. I mean, the most wild...
I mean, not fortunately for the one kid you wanted to bury, but...
Well, that kid, we actually... We put him through the gauntlet to make a... We didn't want him to join the clubs. Like, we had like a club, and... We came up with a bunch of ridiculous tests that we thought he would never do, but he was so eager to get into this club that he was terrified of heights. He pissed his pants riding the sapling down. Then we made him crawl through a bunch of mud, and then we hog-tied him, shoved our socks into his mouth, and then we had this briar dome that we carved out, and then we made a door and then attached the briars to the door. We hog-tied him, put our socks in his mouth, and then threw him in there and told him if he lasted 2 hours hogtied, we'd make him the leader of our club. And then we just left.
I'm so glad you continued without pause because we hogtied him and shoved our, and I was like, oh, where's this going? Where's this going? Because there's a saying that people umbrella activities like this under boys will be boys, but if you're hog tying people and shoving your dick in them, that's a little bit more than boys being boys.
Gotta imitate what Uncle Randy does on Saturday night.
Uncle Randy showed me this fun game. We call it Keep a Secret from Mom.
He gives me $20 every time we play. I don't endorse any of this activity. I was apparently an asshole as a child.
I got a Game Boy Color when I was like 8. I like to play video games and watch Pokemon on TV.
My mother burnt my Pokemon cards. They weren't even mine.
Mine too.
They were Matt's. Matt lost. I don't know, Matt, if you remember this. I'm speaking like third camera to Matt. As I know you're gonna listen to this. He played a game for keeps at school, and he lost. And so I got like a Growlithe and maybe a Charmeleon or something, and a couple of other bullshit cards. And no more than 10 cards, right? That I kept in a drawer. And my mom wasn't anti-Pokemon. She just thought that they took too much space in my room. So she burnt them along with a bunch of limited edition round baseball cards and basketball stuff that my cousins gave. And I got 2 dude cousins, so these were special to me. These were wow, my cousins gave me their baseball card collection. I came home to find out that one grocery bag and a small stack of 10 cards in my room that was in the closet was way too much clutter for my mom to handle, so she burnt them while I was at school. Maybe I was taking that pent-up rage aggression and then turning it towards the neighbor.
Why, maybe. Why burn them, though? Why couldn't they have been placed somewhere else? My parents burned my Pokemon cards out of a religious reason, and I thought you were going to say the same thing. So, my parents, they bought us cards over a couple years. We got Game Boy Colors at 8. I got Pokemon Red. My brother got Pokemon Blue. And then, like all, 8 to 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, however age, we were obsessed with Pokemon because it was the greatest thing at that time. It just had been, brought to the U.S. and trading cards were huge. And so everybody was obsessed with it. But my parents, being religious nutters like they were, said, you're worshiping Pokemon, and therefore you're worshiping a false idol because the Ten Commandment not to worship false idols. And so because we were so obsessed with Pokemon, we were therefore worshiping it, and they gathered all the cards that they had bought us over a couple of years and took it out back to the fire pit and burned them. And I wish that was the worst part of it. But I mean, by worst I mean the most traumatic part of religion in my childhood. But then the cards wouldn't burn, but I don't think that was for any reason other than maybe it was a windy day so the fire couldn't keep going. And my mom, instead of blaming it on my dad being a shitty fire starter and it being a bad condition for a fire, said that they wouldn't burn because the devil was protecting his property.
Wow. That is extreme.
Yeah, I think eventually they ended up throwing them away because they couldn't get them to burn right away. So they were just like, well, if the devil won't let them burn and go back to hell where they belong, we're just going to throw them in the garbage.
That's rough. That's rough, buddy.
The reason we couldn't throw them in the garbage in the first place, though, was because if someone else had found them at the dump, we were just passing on the devil's possessions to somebody else. So therefore, we were doing the work of God by just allowing someone else to become possessed by these tools of the devil.
Have you seen
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know why I turned out to be an atheist that turned to sex immediately upon graduating and moving out of my parents' house. I can't figure it out.
No, not at all. Have you heard the Songify Pokemon song?
Yeah, I believe I have.
The preacher?
Yes.
Okay. It's just a game, but they can't get saved. They're going in the streets and gangs. Okay, anyway.
I'm starting to realize our childhoods, though they vastly differed, may very well be why we are who we are now. So, thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I know you think we failed, but I can't imagine being a stuffy old duffer, man.
Yeah, my parents have never come straight out and called me a failure by any means, but my mom has said things like, I love you no matter the life decisions that you've made, and also, I'll keep praying for you. So it's basically the same thing.
Oftentimes I question why I ever had a kid, because I even surprised my parents when we gave the pregnancy announcement, and I was thinking about it a lot today, and I realized that the primary reason I wanted to have a kid is so I could not fuck up like I felt like they fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, prove that I could, break the cycle. But now, I mean, we've obviously, you've heard some of the parenting decisions I've made. I think I just I ran the opposite direction with it.
Are you familiar with, or not really familiar, but have you watched Rick and Morty?
Yes, a little bit, yeah.
At least up to the second episode of the first season, where they have the Inception dream sequence.
I couldn't tell you what I saw and what I haven't, so it's been a while.
Okay, so in the first season, I think it's the second episode, there's a dream sequence where I think Rick has found a way to inception into people's minds while they're dreaming and affect their dreams. And so they go through one person's dream, and then it ends up being I think it's Morty's dream or something, and Morty is the hot girl at school or whatever, and she's like, do you want to feel my boobs or my tits or whatever she says, and then she takes her shirt off, and I think they have X's over her nipples or whatever, but it's still not kid friendly. And then the inception keeps going until they're in the black teacher's dream, and he's having a dream about a dom palace where everyone's fucking each other. My wife, not knowing the extent of how bad Rick and Morty gets, let my son Trace watched Rick and Morty, and he's watched up to maybe like the second or third season. So like he's seen that episode plus other things that they've covered. And then I found out that my wife let him watch Rick and Morty, and I said, do you know what's in that show? And she's like, no. And I explained to her this Inception Dream episode, and I said, that's just the tip of the iceberg. They go all crazy on other shit too. And she's like, I didn't know all that was in there. I said, yeah, we can't let him watch Rick and Morty anymore. So we told him, like, hey, you're only like 7, I think, at the time. Like, you can't watch Rick and Morty. And he's like, well, why can't I watch it? I said, there's things in it that's not good for you. And I was like you. I was like, when I have kids, I'm not going to be so uptight about things. And be like, they're going to learn about the world. They're going to be very open-minded and understanding. And then I let him watch, like, Deadpool shit, too. And I was like, you can't watch Deadpool. I know you've seen it a few times, but I've rewatched it recently, and I see what they do and say in there. You can't watch Deadpool. I'm sorry, buddy. You just can't watch it. So I find myself being like, oh, I'm going to be the open-minded, cool parent. And it's like, oh, you can't learn some of this stuff yet. You got to wait a few years.
Yeah, the general rule of thumb, and there are things that I won't let my kid watch or whatever, but the general rule of thumb is like, you can say it around dad, and you can say it around like Uncle Brian and your cousins, which is, you know, our chosen family, but you can't say it around mom. And you will be in so much fucking trouble if I catch you repeating this around your grandmother, because she will make her cry. She will for sure cry.
Like, have you ever been smacked in the head during prayer? Because that's what's going to happen if you say it around your grandmother. My parents used to get the perfumed oil and do the cross on the head, and my head would break out with acne real bad.
My grandfather, despite being a holy roller pastor, which my mom grew up with, my dad grew up Lutheran. So, like, by the time my parents got married, they went to a Baptist church. So there was no, like, oil or speaking in tongues until, you know, camp. Maybe one day in another show you'll hear us talk all about our trauma.
Yeah, I was going to say we might have to move on because we're starting to dip into the other podcasts that we're in the works of bringing to reality.
But now you all know cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, we're still a ways off, so that's not anything to look forward to in the immediate future. Not till I can fucking quit one of these 2 jobs.
So, should we dive in? We have a few birthdays here, so should we dive into the stories we got for them?
We do, absolutely, yeah.
Breaking news. This just in.
Everyone, big dumb. All right, for our first listener birthday, we have AJ, who we actually missed his birthday by 1 day of recording, but here we are.
We missed it by 1 day of recording, but the time this episode released, it will have actually been like 15 days.
It's all right. It's cool. People barely remember my birthday, so anyway.
Well, I'll take credit for this one. Because when Russ and I compiled all of this into an Excel sheet, I'm pretty sure we missed him before. Not like we hadn't done it, because I don't think we did our first episode till like May 2nd. We're coming up on a year. Today should be a year of the podcast. Today as of the airing of the episode. But we compiled the list, and then I think we forgot AJ, and I'm pretty sure it came up at one point, and he was like, yeah, you guys didn't include me in the list. And I said, no, that's not possible. And I went back through, and I couldn't find it. And then he screenshotted where he had told me what his birthday was, and I said, oh, we didn't put you in there. That's my bad. And then he made a post today thanking everyone for all the birthday wishes. I was like, AJ's one of our listeners. We can't leave him out. How did we not get his birthday included in that list? So I said, hey, we didn't get your birthday. Why did you not submit it to us? And then he showed me that screenshot again. I was like, God, that's twice I fucking failed you now. And I blamed Russ the last time. because I was like, he failed to incorporate all of the birthdays, and now I guess this time I have to take the blame. Although, I don't think Russ has listened yet because he's daunted by the length of the episodes. So I'm going to continue to blame Russ for this, and then AJ, you just not tell him. That'd be great. All right. Ooh, I got it loud. AJ's story. Let's go.
All right, just say, don't worry, AJ. I got you. All right, title of this story is Florida Man Slapped with Big Mouth Billy Bass Singing Fish After Argument, police say. This happened in Sebastian, Florida. A Sebastian man hurled a big mouth Billy Bass at another man after an argument between the two, Sebastian police say. Gregory Carney, 54, is facing charges of domestic battery after police say he slapped a man with a toy fish. The man was cut on his eye.
I'm picturing it.
Right. He just singing. Don't worry.
I was gonna say it's the one that sings Bob Marley, right?
Right.
Or no, it's not Bob Marley.
Yes, it is.
Who is it? Is it? I thought he did a
Bob.
cover of that song.
It could be. Either way,
I don't fucking know.
the man was cut on his eyebrow, according to Sebastian police report. The man told police he was arguing with Carney because Carney was playing with the fish, just in quotes, to aggravate him. I'm assuming it means he was just like pressing the song button over and over again. I don't know.
Right. So I was just thinking that this thing, I don't think they can't possibly still make these, right? These don't exist anymore. I mean, they obviously do.
And Goodwill somewhere, right? And Goodwill somewhere.
Yeah, this was what year was this?
2018. 18, yeah.
So this was recent enough. These things still exist. I haven't seen one of these in a long ass time. I don't even know what store you have to go to get one any longer. But I'm assuming it is in fact the one that sings "Don't Worry, Be Happy." And I was thinking every time I've come across either a store or a business or a house where somebody had this thing fucking sitting on the wall, I think they were also motion activated too, right?
They could be, yes.
Okay, and so every time that thing went off, it would always start to like get under my skin a little bit. And I've gotten to a point, I don't remember where I've like been to see it the most. I feel like my aunt had one of these, so every time I go to her house and walk by the living room where it was hanging up, it would start singing. And so I get being at a point where you've heard it so many times that you're like, I'm going to take that fucking fish down and beat the next person that presses it. So I'm actually on Mr. Carney's side here. I feel it. I get it.
For sure. So apparently this neighbor got so fed up that he just threw the fish into the trash. What you do. And Carney became angry when he threw the fish out. Like, I at this point in time, I'm not even sure who owns the fucking fish. But apparently, Carney took it personally that Billy Bass is now in the fucking trash can. Because, in fit of rage, he grabbed it out of the bin and threw it at the man. The officer said, go ahead.
Okay, I was confused. I thought Carney was the one who... okay, wait a minute. So Carney did slap him, but because Carney was playing it to annoy the other guy, and the other guy threw it in the trash.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
I'm on the right page now. I was confused. I was like, why did Carney throw it in the trash and then got angry when it was thrown in the trash? Okay, I'm on the right page now.
Yeah. So, Carney plays the fish to his neighbor. I don't even know if they gave this guy a name. We're going to call him Bill. Bill gets pissed off, throws the fish in the trash. And then upon finding out that the Billy the Bass is in the trash, Carney gets pissed. And that's when he takes it out of the trash and throws it at the man. And he says he wasn't aiming to hit this guy, but it hit him by accident. So anyway, the officers arrested Carney and booked him into the Indian River County Jail, and he was released on a $500 bond.
He says he didn't aim for the man, but he was mad at the guy. I feel like he did it on purpose. For sure. I don't think though that it's enough justice to throw the Billy the Bass at him. I think at that point you have to go out to the nearest fish market, and surely there's a lot of them in Florida, grab a real fish and beat him savagely with the real fish.
Right. I mean, But that one's not going to tell you that everything's going to be all right while it's hitting you.
He might tell him. Carney might be like, "Fucking gonna be fine, you piece of shit!" Ah!
I guess there I'm mixing up my Bob Marley songs because "Don't Worry, Be Happy" and "Three Little Birds" are definitely different songs, but still.
I did that too. Russ and I, real quick, we play Hurdle, which is actually a game that's ending soon. Spotify released this puzzle where they play you a second of a song, and then you can skip it, and you have 6 chances to guess the song, and it goes up to like maybe 20 seconds of the song or whatever. And one of them was the Three Birds song, but I thought it was "Don't Worry, Be Happy," so I kept entering it, kept saying it was wrong. I was like, it's that goddamn song, and it kept getting it wrong every time, and I fucking gave up after like 2 or 3 chances, and it said the answer was Three Little Birds. That's not the name of the fucking song. And then I got schooled by Russ when he was like, no, you're fucking stupid, they're different songs. So I get it. I did the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, so apparently you can get Billy the Bass on Amazon for like $50.
That makes sense. You probably have to go to an online retailer now, like Amazon or eBay, to get them. You know what else you can get on there to terrify people? For some reason, people of our generation had an irrational fear of Furbies, but they can be found easily online.
And you could teach your Furby would tell on you because you could cuss at your Furby, and then your Furby would cuss at your parents.
I saw an article. I wish I would have gotten it. I could probably find it if we search for it. But I mean, we're not going to talk about it today. We've got too much on our agenda already. But there was a article I saw where somebody uploaded AI into a Furby, and then the Furby started plotting world domination and expelling its plan for how it would take over the world. It's like, no, that makes sense. When you look at a Furby, that's exactly what the fuck it would do.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Side note, while you're looking at other things, you should see the link I dropped into the Discord chat, and we'll continue on with our life.
We're going to cover this in another episode.
We are. We are. It was a suggested product when I searched for Billy the Bass.
I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm wondering if people I was going to say namely women, because that's who you always made the joke about them getting big cucumbers from the produce section for. But I wonder if women or men, I guess, are inserting this into themselves and then activating it. We'll talk about that in another episode.
Along with a fun inserting a cucumber story of someone else I know. I got a story for every. I got a story for everything.
Who are you fucking hanging out with? This is what happened when our friendship dissolved. It's someone's aunt. Oh my god, someone walked in on their aunt fucking themselves.
Oh, it could get so much worse than that, but we will cover that at a later date. AJ, happy birthday to you, and may no one hit you with a Billy Bass this year.
I blame AJ. This is right up his alley, this conversation. I think where we ended up at was a lot more up his alley than the Billy the Bass story. But
I'm sorry, everybody other than this story, everybody on April 19th decided to rape someone, and I didn't think that would make a good material. So
yeah, it turns out April 19th was a dark day in Florida, so we had to find what we could.
Anyway, we have a second birthday. Our listener Morgan, and her birthday will actually be on May 2nd, the day this episode releases. And we found quite an interesting story. The title of this story is "Florida Man Wearing Blue Bonnet and Flowery Dress Allegedly Steals 28 Cans of Baby Formula from Publix." So let's. Is
that why they locked up fucking baby formula at the store?
It has to be. It has to be. Do you see the video of this at all?
Yeah, I didn't watch it before, but I did see there was a video, so I've hit play and I'm watching this guy scoot around in his motor cart.
So, all right.
He looks drunk. Go ahead and tell me what happened while I watch this guy swerve in and out of lanes.
All right. Who drives around a motorized cart while wearing a blue bonnet, purple red flowery dress, black jacket, and white tennis shoes, and makes off with 28 cans of infant Florida? Florida man candidate, perhaps? Cape Coral police are looking to identify a man seen around 9:40 p.m. Saturday dressed and described while roaming a Cape Coral Publix. They said the man resembles a suspect from blah, 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 blah. They said the man resembles a suspect from similar crimes in the North Fort Myers, Naples, and Punta Gorda area. Police responded to the Publix at Midpoint Center on Santa Barbara Boulevard, where co-workers said she saw the man in his 50s on surveillance cameras. The complainant claimed that the man took 28 Infamil formula cans, concealed them under his dress, and left the store without paying. Their value was in excess of $450.
All right, pause here for a second, unless you reached
That's
in.
it. That's it.
Okay, I was like, I haven't watched, I haven't read the article because I was too busy watching this guy. So the video, I'm about a minute and 42 seconds into the 6.5 minute video. I'm not going to watch the whole thing because I don't want to sit here and stare in silence at my screen while you're trying to make conversation with me. So this guy, you can go to the video. We'll include the link to it, the article, so you can can watch it.
Did you see the screenshot of him down below?
Yeah, I did see that. So this man is driving around in one of the motorized carts, and he just starts weaving in between, like, it's the big open aisle with a couple of pallets of displays throughout the middle of it. And he's just kind of going in between like he's practicing for a driver's test. And then he swerves around one and then parks at the baby formula aisle, and then he starts loading a bunch into his cart. And then he drives away from it and then loops back around. And there's a guy in a backwards white cap within like the first minute who just walks by on his phone, doesn't look at him for 2 seconds. And then this dude hits one of the displays in the middle of the aisle and kind of knocks it askew, and then turns back around and starts loading up more.
Maybe he realized. Maybe he realized his face was facing the camera, so he had to come from the other direction, so they didn't have his face.
There at a 3-minute mark, there is an employee who walked past him as he was starting to drive off, who looked over at him, and you can't see his face very well from the video camera footage, but he's definitely displaying a face of, I'm not getting paid enough for this. Oh my god. He's just driving around the store with this cart full of formula now.
I mean, as funny as it is, though, I mean, to think about it, if you're that desperate that you're willing to steal 28 cans of baby formula, you've got to be in a situation, dude.
Well, he's wearing the bonnet, so clearly this is for him. And he's got some, I mean, obviously I'm going to chalk it up to mental health, but he's got the bonnet and a dress on, so I think somewhere in his mind he is both mother and baby. I worry about what the home situation looks like because I hope he's not breastfeeding himself. Like, I don't know how he accomplishes that. If he, like, puts a little bit on his nipple and then, lifts it up and sucks on his own tit. I don't know what he's doing. I don't want to know what he's doing. I'm just engrossed with this video.
Yeah,
He's
who knows?
Just driving all over the place. I said I was going to watch the 6.5 minute video. I'm at 4 minutes now. And he drove into an aisle where I think he thought he was alone enough to start shoving him into his dress. And he, like, drove forward a little bit and kind of swerved, and then he backed up and swerved. I don't know what's going on. I don't think he knows what's going on. And nobody that works here that has come across him wants to deal with it because they're probably almost closed for the night.
Yeah, they're definitely... Whoever's watching this footage in the store is definitely going, I'm not getting paid enough for this shit. I mean, this guy definitely isn't getting paid enough if he's walking off with 28 cans. But, like, god damn.
Yeah, and I don't know how you suspect that much is going to fit in there and you're just going to be nonchalant about it. Like, you're going to have a bunch of bulges. First off, you're wearing a dress, so you're conspicuous as hell. And then you're going to walk out bulging in this dress. Like, there's no way nobody fucking stops you.
Yeah, no, this is clearly, and we'll post a picture along with this episode. This clearly isn't a guy who's like, he dresses like a woman, like that's his thing. He's not cross-dressing. He's not trying to be somebody. This dude, like, woke up in a crack house somewhere naked and was like, yeah, I'm going to take this and that off the floor, and that's what I'm wearing today.
But why? Like, yeah, there's something very wrong where he very much has a this dress and bonnet laying around. That's what I said. This guy, he's somewhere methed out or something and believes that he is both mother and child. So, God, Florida's a fucking scary place.
It is a scary place.
I don't know if you're looking for any show recommendations. Did I tell you about the show I was watching called Florida Man?
I don't know if you have, but I saw it on, was it Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I binged it because it was so chaotic, and it's a very much an action show with comedy, and I won't spoil anything, but every episode ends with things are getting more and more fucked up for the people involved in this situation, to the point where like I think it's 7 episodes long. It's going to be just a one-shot series and it's done. And like by the 5th episode, you're like, there's no way everybody doesn't fucking leave this show dead. And then they make fun of Florida people so much in it. Like, there's so many memes. At one point, there's a cop who's trying to buy a gun at a gun rally convention thing, and they won't, like, sell it to him. They're like, well, we gotta send it to your house. And he's like, how do I fucking pick the one law-abiding gun show in all of Florida? He's like, this is fucking Florida. I probably tripped over 3 guns trying to get here. It's a fantastic show. I highly recommend watching it.
I'll have to check that out, man. So
Florida is a very fairy tale place. No, you couldn't sell the idea of Florida to anybody and make them believe it really existed.
Absolutely not. But here we are as part of our beautiful country.
I don't know. I'd say beautiful, but it sure is part of the country.
That's right. So happy birthday, Morgan, and thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed your Florida man story. So this next segment, I don't think we've covered any of these yet.
No, we haven't. We've got a couple of submissions in our Discord. People have been suggesting things for us to look at, but we haven't covered one as far as the revamping of this podcast. So,
all right. So, are you ready to find out what I found on Facebook Marketplace this week?
I'm sure it's terrifying, but let's go ahead and find out what he got. Step right up, step right up. Look at the amazing wares I've brought for you to ogle.
Let's see here. This is all junk. Is that a half-chewed-on eraser?
Ah, but could your ordinary half-chewed eraser do this?
Whoa! What a deal! All right, so this terrifying monstrosity that I brought you, I forget what day it was, but I was looking for content, and I was tired as fuck, and I was just scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, praying to find something, and I fell asleep, and when I woke up, this image, which we'll provide for you, is what I clicked on while sleeping. I woke up to this motherfucker. What I am looking at is Lanky Frank the goddamn fucking clown, which I am terrified of clowns.
I guarantee nobody knows what Lanky Frank is. I didn't know until I looked at the outline for the episode what Lanky Frank was.
I didn't even bother to do my research because this dude's creepy enough. I'll get into the context, but what did you find out about Lanky Frank?
I didn't actually look into it. I do wonder if I Google Lanky Frank. What comes up?
While you're doing that, I'll
it's Lanky Frankie, isn't it?
It could be. It says Lanky Frank on the post.
Apparently, Lanky Frankie is a brand of hot dogs. It might not be.
All right.
Lanky
This is a Wayne Kaleski. I'm assuming that's the artist. Life-size Lanky Frank. It is made to be suspended. It's a clown, folks. It's a fucking clown that is meant to be suspended from the ceiling and is roughly 7 feet fucking tall. On top of being 7 goddamn feet tall and suspended from your fucking ceiling, it comes with stilts.
The only way I want this to be suspended from the ceiling is with a goddamn noose.
So, on top of this, now that we know that fucking you have this 7-foot lanky ass creepy fucking clown staring at you that can be put on stilts, we come to find out that it is in excellent condition. More photos upon request, as if one fucking photo. I mean, there was like 4 or 5, and the one I picked was the best upon request. But luckily, we come to find out that Lanky Frank has indeed come from a smoke-free home and can be shipped. And for $700 fucking dollars, Lanky Frank can scare the fuck out of you day in and day out.
So I googled Lanky Frank. I was looking for results while you were setting up and talking about what Lanky Frank was. First off, it doesn't seem like there's any information. This isn't like a manufactured thing that people are making or a company's not making. This is something that seems to be sold by a woman on Etsy. So someone is intentionally making this for the purpose of selling to people. I don't know what reason. I feel like it's for scaring people, but I can't imagine. She doesn't advertise it for scaring.
I can tell you, my grandfather's ex-girlfriend, I say ex-girlfriend because he passed away, she made dolls for a living, and I don't mean just like, oh, like this is a cute baby doll. No, she made ceramic, like, she molded them and baked them in an oven and painted them ceramic dolls and then put talk boxes in them. She once had
worst.
She had a room full of fucking baby dolls that upon motion sensor walking through the room, 10 of them started singing Tiny Tim's tiptoe through the tulips. And I mean, I'm not talking like this is just tiptoe through the tulips. This is like right after Insidious came out. So, like, I'm minding my business in the apartment. And she's like, oh, Justin, can you go get this tote for me in the back room? Knowing I'd have to go through the glass, through the dolls. I just watched Insidious, like, the week before. And all of a sudden, 10 different voices out of the shadows start singing, tiptoe through the tulips, through the window. Anyway.
Do you still have nightmares? It sounds like something that would stick with you for life.
Yes.
This fucking clown looks like if somebody told you a pedophile clown was on the loose in your neighborhood and that you should keep an eye out for it, and you woke up one night to see a figure sitting in your chair, like in the corner of the room, you wouldn't even have to turn the lights on. This is what you would assume a pedophile clown would look like.
Oh my gosh, dude! I have found Wayne Koleski, and this dude, like, bruh, maybe this is the link that we should be providing. I will send it to you in Discord, and you can help yourself to the plethora of clown images of ceramic clowns that this dude has produced.
Oh boy!
They all come out of. Yeah. I
don't
did.
see it yet. I was going to say, I still see the man in the blue bonnet and the dress.
I copied the link. Either way, someone has a passion for fucking clowns that they've made like hundreds of fucking ceramic goddamn... What the motherfuck? I think this thing is pranking me. Jesus, fuck me.
It's the clown spirit. They've come back to fix you.
For you guys that don't know what the fuck's going on right now, I am trying to copy this link, and I am directly copying the link of this page that has like dozens of fucking ceramic clowns, and every time I go to paste it into chat, it keeps bringing up the picture of the man in the bonnet. For the 4th fucking time in a row, I give up. This clown.
I keep seeing it. You drop a message, like click on it, and it's just the man in the blue bonnet again.
It's the fucking spirit of Lanky Frank. He is fucking with us so goddamn hard right now. Oh my god, I give up.
That's a creepy ass smile too. I don't know who buys clowns. Like, so are you familiar with Dan Cummins, the comedian?
By name.
Okay, he has a bit in one of his old oh, I see. You sent me the message on Facebook now. Lanky Frankie won't let you fucking post it in Discord, so he's gonna make you go to Facebook for it.
And it's not working either. Anyway, continue. Dan Cummings.
I would laugh if every time I go to the episode outline when you write the episode, it was just pictures of Lanky Frankie or the man in the bonnet every time you went to paste something, and you're like, I wrote the greatest episode we're ever gonna have, and it's just the blue man or the blue bonnet man.
There, finally, in fucking Facebook chat. Go terrify yourself. What about Dan Cummings?
Anyway, Dan Cummins, he has a bit about when he was younger, somebody gave him a terrifying clown doll, and he is fucking freaked out by clowns. And he said that this thing creeped him out so much that one night he got up while everyone else was asleep and threw it in the trash can because he thought this thing was watching him. And he said he thought he was done with it, so he like felt relieved or whatever. And then he said that what he didn't know was that one of his parents had seen the clown in the trash can and thought, oh, poor Danny threw away his favorite clown toy. So while he was sleeping, she dug it out of the trash can and put it back in the chair that sits across from his bed. And so he woke up one night with the clown that he threw in the trash can sitting on his chair across from him while he was sleeping. And he said that fucking traumatized him and gave him nightmares for so long.
I will show you. I found the image, and I will try to drop it in Discord chat.
I swear to God, if it's the Florida man again.
No.
Okay, we fucking got it.
So what Anthony is looking at is a like a marionette doll of a hobo clown. My mom had a version. Go ahead.
If you told somebody, if you're trying to describe this thing to somebody, and you said it's a hobo clown, that's exactly what I would think it looked like.
It's a definitely clown like half-ass clown makeup, like shaggy hair and like just enough 5 o'clock shadow to like almost be a beard. Like this dude jumped off a 1930s fucking train and is tramping around your town asking for fucking licorice candy, dude. My mom had this only it was a ventriloquist doll. It was this instead of having marionette strings to it. It was a ventriloquist doll. And my mother, at like when I was like age 4 or 5, you know, at 4 or 5, I'm subjecting my kid to songs that, you know, Santa's getting his dick sucked. That's great. She'll forget about that. I never forgot about this. Are you talking
about mommy kissing Santa? I don't think Santa getting his dick sucked was part of the lyrics of that song, buddy.
No. The song I referenced earlier that my buddy made about Santa Claus.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. I was like, I don't remember there being a line about him getting his dick sucked. But man, I need to get a Santa costume if that's what it's gonna take.
No. Right, for sure. No, I'm a horrible parent because at like age 4, I let my kid listen to that song. At age 4, my mom was subjecting me to this terror, and apparently he has been reincarnated in fucking Lanky Frank, who came to haunt me while I was sleeping, searching Facebook Marketplace.
Lanky Frank definitely is possessed by a spirit. I guarantee it. There's no way that clown looks that way. And I like his weird hands, too, because he has, like, really thin chicken arms, and his hands are a lot bigger than they should be proportionately to his arms.
Oh, for sure.
And now I'm thinking of the parody movie Scary Movie. Have you seen those?
Yes, yeah.
Or the butler with the little shriveled up hand. He's like, I'm going to mix it with my strong hand. He just sticks his crippled arm inside the mashed potatoes and starts whipping it around. And starts slapping on people's plates.
I can't, like, I'm sick to my stomach looking at Lanky Frank. I can't do it anymore. But for you, I did it. For all of you out there, I faced my fucking fear, okay?
There's no way I don't have nightmares. That thing, you only suspend it by a noose around its neck. That is the only proper way to do it.
Absolutely.
Now, while I was looking for Lanky Frankie, whatever the fuck it's called, I did come across a news article that I was thinking about we should cover, so I won't go into detail about it, but I'll give you the headline. It's quite a headline. It's pretty long. Mother of two describes the terrifying moment a Pennywise clown doll suddenly appeared in the trees and floated into her backyard, so she set it on fire and then slept with a knife because she was scared.
That's exactly what you fucking do. You set that bitch on fire, you go to your local fucking priest, you get holy fucking water, you soak the ashes in the holy water, and then you put it in a fucking lead container, and you go bury it in someone else's yard.
Yeah, you can't bury it in your backyard because that's how you get poltergeist. You put it in go put it in that kid's yard that you want to bury in your backyard. Be like, I know we haven't seen each other since we were kids. Things were weird back then. I for sure don't want anything negative to happen to you now. But here, I just gotta do some gardening real quick in your backyard if you wouldn't mind.
Christ on a cracker. Anyway, I think we've given, if talking about something gives it life and power, we've given Lanky Frank plenty of energy to live for quite some time now, so I'm ready to move on.
Well, before we do, I like that they mentioned that he comes from a smoke-free home. Like, that was the concern I had when looking for something to buy, either for myself or someone else. It's like, oh, well, he looks like a pedophile clown, but at least he came from a smoke-free home, so all of my concerns are dissolved now.
For sure.
Okay. I like, too, that they specify can be shipped. I think if I were writing the description for this thing, I would say can manifest in your home if you give me the address.
Right. But it's not going to be in the middle of the day. You're going to be fucking sleeping, and you're going to feel someone's, white hot eyes burning into you, and you're going to open up, and there in the fucking dark is Lanky Frank in the corner of the goddamn room with the knife that you stuck under your pillow because you were going to protect yourself, and now he's just like...
I think we have an opportunity here that we need to set a new tier for our Patreon. I think maybe like a $50 tier. We're gonna buy Lanky Frank, and we're going to, for $50, we'll let us into your house at night while your significant other is sleeping, and we will prop this thing up over your significant other for them to wake up to. You can wash your hands of the whole thing. You just leave the door unlocked, sleep on the couch or whatever. Let us in. Whatever. We're just gonna have some consent forms for you to sign, because if we're walking in with this clown with a knife, I don't want the cops called on us. But I think $50 is a fair trade for us to sneak into your house and place this thing maniacally where your partner sleeps.
Absolutely, and your partner will be scared. I'm really hoping someone pisses themselves.
So for $50, and how much does Lanky Frank go for?
So I think it was $600 or $700.
He's going to be an investment. We're going to have to get a couple people to subscribe to that Patreon level to make it worth getting. Yeah, if we buy this thing for $600 and the most we get out of it is one use, I can't justify it. Although you were talking initially about auctioning off things like underwear and stuff to listeners, so Lanky Frank could go to a good home.
Lanky Frank could go to a good home, and so could any pair of my used underwear.
Yeah, or feet pics. We're not really above anything that makes money at this point.
You tell us what you want, and we'll create it.
Well, let's not go that far, because I've heard AJ say some wild shit about OnlyFans content that we could make. I don't think that we should just give everyone a free range to submit their fan requests. I don't know that I can get behind that. I
told AJ explicitly that if he submits it, he is the one who has to test it out. No one else is testing out his content. It's him.
But we don't. Him. But I've seen the things that he's been posting in the Facebook group, and I don't want to get videos of him testing things out because you told him to.
You don't gotta watch it.
But he's gonna post it on the group, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, something that one of our dear listeners submitted for us to partake in, so we can chat about it." And it's just gonna be him gaping his asshole with what was that, a Chewbacca dick or something? I don't even remember what it was.
A Chewbacca dildo, yeah.
It had fur. It looked angry, and it looks like it belongs in your asshole. I'm just saying, I don't want to watch a video of it. You have to make the noise while you're doing it. I think you have to get that. If your partner is looking for something new to bring into the bedroom, a new toy of some sort, I think you have to get it, and you have to make the scream when you insert it into them.
Absolutely. I got a side story about Chewbacca, a coworker we called Chewie. Should we delve into that?
I wonder if we had the same coworker. I think I knew a fella named Chewie in high school, maybe.
Oh, no, this was a chick.
Oh, I don't know her.
No, she was. I worked at a cabinet shop in a finish room, and she was an Amish. She was an Amish chick, relatively the same age. So like we were like mid-20s at the time, and of course, like ladies, you can do whatever the fuck you want with your body hair. That's cool with me. 10 years ago, me definitely made fun of you, because this chick had pit hair longer than I did, and it would like come out of the sleeve of her dress, and she would always like get up in your face and like reach over. So we started calling her Chewie because we knew that she had no fucking clue who we were referencing. So I had another coworker who we would greet each other in the morning from across the shop, going with the resounding, greeting coming from the other end. But really, we were just making fun of Susie and her massively long pit hair.
I think I've seen a picture of a woman in shorts with pube hair sticking out the leg. Like you said, by all means, claim your body, do whatever you want to do. It's not going to be for everyone. If your pube hair is sticking out of your short bottom, I for sure am not going to be capable of going down on you without suffocating from a hairball. So it's not for me. I call my wife Sasquatch when she's let her leg hair grow too long. I tell her that it's not right for her to be more manly than I am. So it is what it is. Anyway, that was a wild steer away from Lanky Frankie or whatever the fuck.
I'm trying to fucking forget about this man. All right. Well, also, while searching on Facebook Marketplace, I happened to find this lovely plastic popcorn tin that you can take with you to the movie theater with a suspiciously dick-sized hole cut into the bottom of it for $10. It's labeled.
I was gonna say there's been a recent release of movies, the D&D movie, which I still haven't fucking seen because my wife hates me, and she told me just to go watch it with Russ and get me out of her hair about it because I wanted to go see it real bad. But we did go see the Mario movie, and both of those movies have I think the popcorn bucket for Mario was a question block.
Probably.
I can't remember, but there was that D20 at certain AMC theaters for the D&D movie that I guess went out really fast.
Sweet.
Now those are really cool plastic popcorn buckets, worth the money that you'd spend to get them. This one is very suspect.
This is like your generic, like you walk into Rule King and you got your red and white bag that says popcorn, except it's a plastic bucket. But they do let you know that it is gently used and modified. So just gently used.
Yeah, so as you pointed out the bottom of it, I don't think we need to explain the whole putting your dick in the bottom of a popcorn bucket joke, because I say it's a joke, but honestly, people have done this and are quite proud of it. Now, I myself have never stuck my dick anywhere near popcorn, but I imagine between the butter and the salt, it can't make for a good time. There's no way it's worth. And then you're soft inside there unless you can maintain an erection. I'm assuming you have to pop a Viagra for this to be effective, right?
I'm assuming that you don't actually put the popcorn in there. Like maybe like you have the popcorn next to you. Like you buy a popcorn, but then someone else is holding that while you're just sticking your dick in this cold plastic container. The description here says, you don't want to pass this up. Your girlfriend's taking you to a chick flick at the local movie theaters, boring you to death. Can I talk to fucking day? Don't let it end that way. It says, don't let it end this way. Serious buyers only, and to let you know, no lowball offers. All puns intended.
So, first off, in addition to what the salt and the popcorn are going to do to the skin on your dick, first off, that's a good way to find out if you have any lesions or anything that aren't supposed to be there. You're going to find that right away if you put popcorn in there.
And you probably want to go to a doctor and get a few pills.
Second of all, that hole does not look rounded and smooth at all. It looks like you're going to get your dick in there, and then you're going to fucking cut your shit up because it is jagged as shit looking.
Oh, for sure. But can you imagine the awkward hand job you're going to get out of this? Because, like, there's no way anyone's hands, like, actually fitting down into this bucket in any sort of way that's going to be comfortable to grab your dick.
Right, so I would think we can all assume that a proper hand job should be with a hand placed like this, right? The thumb on the top side. Yep, we're good that way. That's the way to jerk it off.
That's right.
Somehow we come back to this every week. I don't know how we keep talking about jerking off, but here we are. Okay, so that's not going to work.
It's going to be upside down.
Yes, exactly. Oh, hold on. I have a visitor that we don't need to have this conversation for. What's up?
Are you almost done?
Yes, we're at the end.
Because Oliver is getting into things that I don't even know where he got from. Like the rainbow rubber bands are supposed to be in the bathroom.
Okay, just keep watching him for a few seconds, and I'll be up in a little bit, alright?
Okay.
I'm so glad. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. Make sure you cut this out, Karen, because this is going to be good for... actually, maybe I'll put it on TikTok. That'd be a good clip. But this is a good...
bonus content type shit.
Yeah, bonus content. We're sitting here talking about the proper jerk-off position of your hand, and my fucking 8-year-old walks in. Anyway... yeah, I gotta get repositioned now. Yeah. So we can all agree this is the proper thumb up is the right way. So like you just demonstrated, to make this work, you're going to have to get inside at a weird angle. Her wrist is not going to enjoy that. Your dick's not going to enjoy that. God, I hope he's upstairs now.
Like, can you just imagine like her hand cramps while in this odd position, and now she's like gorilla gripping your dick in her hand, but it's like spazzing, so it's like just pulsing and squeezing.
And the idea is to be inconspicuous about it. And
right.
So, like, obviously, you've got your popcorn bucket in your lap. So that, first off, it's not a weird place to put it. But if you've got it, like, glued onto your lap because you obviously can't lift this or anyone's going to see your dick. And then she's going for popcorn like this. No one's grabbing popcorn like that. That's not inconspicuous. And then if there is popcorn inside of this bucket, you're just fucking flailing popcorn out all over the place as you're stroking the best you can. Whereas you look like an epileptic who walked into a disco trying to jerk someone off.
I think if this is gonna work, you're definitely gonna have to sit in the top row of the theater and hope no one else is in that row, or like a couple rows ahead of you.
Quite frankly, that's what the back row is for. That's what the back row is for. Is for people to jerk each other off back there. That's where you go to the back row, and you suck your partner's dick, and that's why you buy tickets for the back row. The only people who are in the back row are the delinquents who are fucking in public.
Absolutely. Maybe though you could modify this item by like cutting one of the sides out mostly, so there's room for a hand to fit in the proper jerk off position. So you're reaching in from the side instead of like trying to like go upside down and backwards from the top.
So you've got popcorn spilling out the side of the bucket. So first off, this bucket doesn't look like a bucket that any theater has. So you're already off to a bad start, where you're trying to be inconspicuous, where you're holding in your lap this plastic bucket that doesn't exist in any theater. And then you've got someone going in for popcorn, upside down fist, and then they're thrashing their arm around the bucket like they're epileptic trying to get popcorn. you can't just go jerk them off in the back of the theater like every normal teenager, all right? Every normal teenager is going to have their first hand job in the back of a theater. Don't get the popcorn. She's going to fucking yank your dick the wrong way, and then you're going to have a fucking severed vein, and you're going to start bleeding out in the popcorn bucket.
Yep, nope. But just be glad that you don't live around here, because this is like a Dover Philly item, so... You know, maybe if you don't want to drive from Akron, you could modify your own popcorn bucket.
Or I'll just fuck at home like the good Lord intended. I don't need to be arrested for indecency, public indecency, or be put on the sex offender registration because I decided to put my dick in the bottom of a fake popcorn bucket. All right, this is not where I want my life to go.
We scour the internet for the finest, so you don't have to.
Yeah, and luckily it is only $10, which is probably more than that fucking bucket cost in the first place. I think because it is modified, they're like, yeah, $10 is good for the work that I put into crafting this obviously well done job. I hate though that it's gently used. I absolutely hate that was included in details.
I think that it's gently used. I think like as he's cutting the hole out, he's like making sure his own dick fits into it. That's probably the used part. It
doesn't matter if he tested this out and let someone jerk him off inside the popcorn bucket, or if he was using his dick for a measuring device while cutting the hole. It's still that his dick was inside of it, and that's where the problem lies.
So somewhere in my brain, as you said, gently used, I hear the wise words of Lil Jon in the background going, "I'll skeet skeet, motherfucker!" As he just
I thought you were going to say Tenacious D's "Fuck Her Gently."
Oh, no, that would apply too. But this was more on the "I'll skeet skeet" as he paints the walls of the inside bucket to make sure that it properly works, getting your gently used to earn title.
This popcorn is everything wrong with glory holes. I'd rather go back to Lanky Frank. At least he wasn't.
Maybe.
I was gonna say nobody put his dick in their dick in Lanky Frank, but I guess we don't know that he was also used conditioned, so maybe that's what they were doing with him as well.
Maybe Lanky Frank is holding the popcorn bucket on his lap and his dick is coming through. Maybe that's how he approaches you in the night. Bent over, erect cock through a popcorn bucket.
That's a true nightmare. I'm gonna have that nightmare tonight now.
And in his great best Saul voice, it's "Wanna jerk me off?" I just hear.
I would say I'm ready to get out of this episode so I can go get high and forget all of this happened. But I don't think things are gonna get better with the worst of humanity.
Yeah. What word have we been brought with this week?
Oh my god, who thinks of this shit? Hey, quick, come here, take a look at this.
Why would you show me that?
I don't want to suffer alone.
This is the worst of humanity.
All right, so I went searching, as you said, so other people don't have to. But by all means, if you have a great Urban Dictionary term that you want to suggest for us to take a guess at, we will happily take your suggestions and give you credit if we do use your word. So the word I picked at random is a farfignugan, and you said you believe this to be a Little Rascal reference.
I know, I swear to God they use the word farfignugan somewhere in Little Rascals, but I could be wrong.
I would like to say that if they did in fact use this reference in Little Rascals, it can't possibly mean that it's anything so horrendous, but it's also an Urban Dictionary, so somebody could have been like, I like that word, let's give it this meaning instead.
Right.
So you don't remember what they use it in Little Rascals, so we're gonna go in blind here, guessing farfignugan. Does anything stand out to you about this?
I wanna say that It just sounds like the ass is involved in some way. How do you not have a word called Farfanugan where the ass isn't involved?
It does almost sound like fart is in the word, so maybe it could have to do with the ass. There's nothing about this word that's a real word, and that's what's so complicated. Is there's no way to take a word like Farfanugan and go, oh, well, it has this word in it, so it must involve this. It's just a completely made up bullshit word. It doesn't mean fuck all.
Right.
Farfanugan. Maybe far is a word that we can go off of being a distance adjective. But what would a fanugan be then?
I don't know.
I would hate. Okay, so for a while, as you had been a listener of the original show that Russ and I did, we fought for the first several episodes that we were not a sex podcast, but it seemed always to come back to sex in some way, as it has done so with us. I don't even say that we're not a sex
I
podcast anymore because we talked about jerking off. It must have been every episode so far.
I think so.
Yeah, so I can't even pretend like we're not. So I was like, we're gonna do things. I'm gonna punch up some jokes that aren't sex related. I have to guess that a farfanugan is when you run a competition with your buddies to see who can ejaculate the farthest.
Okay.
Which means it's going to be a group jerk-off, which is going to be weird enough. This is for somebody. People are out there jerking off with their friends. I know this exists. There's too many people on this planet not to be doing this.
Right. Sorry, I'm a little distracted because as we're talking about this and I'm thinking about what Farfanugan could possibly fucking mean that it made its way onto Urban Dictionary. I'm trying to figure out also, I'm searching for which movie or if it was actually used in The Little Rascals as a term, because I know for a fucking fact I have heard this term on a movie, like a kid's movie.
So you're not wrong. Farfanugan did come from Little Rascals. I think it was Alfalfa said, I seem to have a little Farfanugan. It's spelled differently, though.
Okay.
I don't remember what context. There's video clips, but I don't want to sit here and watch a video clip while we're trying to put on a show.
Right.
What was he saying? Was it when his stomach got all gurgly or whatever?
Maybe.
Do I remember that correctly? I don't fucking remember this movie very well.
Maybe. I don't remember either. But still, I feel like I've been really dropping the ball on these words of humanity words lately. But like, to just nothing. Just not other than the ass. Maybe like I don't know. Maybe it's like someone's eating someone's ass and they fart, but it's like a slimy fart and it's like a fart bubble and they eat a farfanugan. A slimy fart bubble.
That sounds terrible.
It does.
Okay.
So in my Google search, I found out it was Little Rascals is where the word farfanugan was used, was when Alfalfa was on the date with Darla, and it says, I seem to have a little farfanugan, which led down to the rabbit hole. What the fuck does farfanugan even mean? And apparently, according to Google, not Urban Dictionary, farfanugan was an advertising slogan used by Volkswagen in a 1990 U.S. campaign that included a stick figure driving a Volkswagen car, or a farfanugan, which means driving enjoyment. Breaking down, farfan mean to drive, and then nugan meaning enjoyment, making the reference in the Little Rascals movie, which was released in '94. I seem to have a little farfanugan, meaning, I'm assuming when they're out on the boat and he's enjoying. I'm not sure. It made it relevant for the time. All that to being said, I just remember the word being used in the movie as a fucking kid. But now you know the meaning of farfanugan and its origin. But that has nothing to do with what Urban Dictionary is probably going to tell us farfanugan means.
You're all getting a very edited version of. I don't know how Karen's going to cut this to make it okay, but what you're not going to hear is 10 minutes of us rabbit hole diving into Farfanugan and Little Rascals and watching a video clip of Alfalfa and Darla's date, trying to figure out where the fuck Farfanugan was. We've wasted. My kids are waiting for me to come back upstairs to be a father to them, and we're on a 10-minute rabbit hole dive of Farfanugan. Not even the Urban Dictionary term that we're trying to guess what it means. We're trying to just find out where in pop culture we heard it from, and then we found out it was German, and they're like, well, what does it mean in German? And then you're like, it had to do with an automobile commercial. It's like, well, what was the commercial?
Farfanugan for your children has become your pack of cigarettes.
It really has. They're like, is Dad coming back? I don't know. He went out for a pack of Farfanugan, and we don't know what that means. They're gonna go to school and be like, oh, you still have a mom and dad? Cool, I lost my dad to Farfanugan, and we don't know when he's coming back.
Oh, would you like to give us the Urbanary Dictionary?
I don't even want to guess anymore. I came up with the ejaculation contest. Let's just find out what the fuck it actually is so we can get out of here.
And I'm blowing fart bubbles while you're eating ass.
All right. The Farfanugan is a person who farts in the bathtub and then bites the bubble. You weren't too far off. I don't think, though, that's what Little Rascals was talking about.
No, I don't think so.
I like this sentence so much more than I like the definition. So as people who are trying to enlighten you with new terms that you can use in everyday society talk, we would like to give you a sentence example so that you can properly use Farfanugan in your daily speech. The example is, Pedro is shit-eating Farfanugan.
I think the second meaning here might be the way that it was intended to be used in the movie, as Farfanuga meaning is like a swear, but like a fake swear. So when you want to cuss, but you can't cuss. So it was a way of Alfalfa cussing without cussing in a G-rated movie.
There's a third one, which is exactly the German word that we went on a 10-minute rabbit hole dive for. I don't know. I think I like the idea that it's someone who farts in the bathtub and then tries to bite the bubble. Yeah. I like Pedro shit-eating Farfanugan.
All right. Christ, we spent way too much time on Farfanugans.
I don't even know. We were doing so well at timing that we were going to have this around a little more than an hour. And now recording, even though a lot of this is us doing that deep dive into something that nobody needed and isn't even going to make it to the episode, the recording's at an hour and 44 minutes. So I don't know how much poor Karen has to sift through and cut out to make this palpable to everyone else.
There's a solid 15 to 20 minutes of bullshit in this episode.
I'm absolutely certain that she's going to need more than what we've been providing her for payment, so we may have to discuss a pay raise.
All
right, buddy, take us out of here.
Well, like I said, you stuck around for episode 6, and this is what you fucking get. Sorry, still a little dazed and confused on our rabbit hole.
We could bring you back to Frankie Lank if it would refocus you. Or Linky
God,
Frank.
no.
I can't remember what his fucking name is anymore.
Thank you all for sticking around. If you have any drug stories, any dumb stories, submit your birthdays. We'll be sure to include you in the episodes and let you know when they're dropping. Yeah, maybe. AJ, that's a big maybe on you.
We try to get... we try to get as close as we can to the episode or to the date of your birthday, so that when the episode releases, it may be like a few days before or a few days after. With AJ, we really dropped the ball, and it's going to be 15 days, but not as much as we dropped the ball on the other people that happened while we weren't recording. So,
but please submit your own dumb stories. We love covering those. Those are to me it's. I'd way rather cover your dumb shit than someone else's dumb shit. And maybe even I, as we've come to find out, I have a lot of personal dumb stories that relate to a lot of things. Apparently, my life was groomed for this fucking podcast. But also, if you could swing over and if you're interested in finding us on Patreon for Overdue for Extinction, all the money there, we don't need to go into the tiers, covers the cost of the production of this, so we can get you more dumb in your weekly laughs. We greatly appreciate all your support. But also, if you could just give us a confident like or rate us anywhere you are listening to us, that would also be excellent. I myself, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at The Spectral Vagabond, if you're interested in finding me there. And where else can they find us and you, Anthony?
So if you want to follow the podcast, we post a lot of content related to the episodes. You can... Sorry, I was checking something. You got me distracted in another deep dive. We have had one other person give us a rating since we started telling people to rate and review us. So apparently it's working. Good job, single person that gave us our 13th rating. Yeah, so if you want to follow the podcast, we do a lot of episode content, links, videos, pictures. We will for sure be posting Lanky Frank so you too can have nightmares alongside of us. If you want to find all that, you can follow us at several different platforms. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Overdue for Extinction. The Facebook group gets a little bit bogged down sometimes. People post in there, and we welcome shit posting, any memes, any awful Wookiee dildos that you might come across, anything at all. Just, let's not get too carried away, because we all know that our overlord Zuckerberg is a mean overlord, and he will ban us if we get too rowdy. We also have a I'm between Farfanugan and Lanky Frank, I'm all fucked up. I can't even think anymore. We also have a Twitter account for as long as Twitter lasts. I have no idea when Elon Musk is eventually going to blow that up too. I just read today he launched his first SpaceX test, not missile, shuttle, and it exploded during the launch. So that's promising.
Oh, awesome! Isn't he promising people a ride to Mars here in a few years, or the moon, or something?
Yeah, well, it seems like all celebrities at this point who have more money to burn than they want to give to the homeless. So, it is what it is.
For sure. Anyway, socials.
You can follow us on Twitter for as long as that exists. That is just at O4E, the number 4 pod. We don't do a whole lot on there other than make announcements. For now, we're just making announcements of episode releases, which we will also do on Facebook and Instagram. But in the future, if we run any contests or anything that maybe like... pauses in the podcast, mental health breaks or whatever, we'll post all updates there so you can get those right away. We also have, as Justin mentioned, I almost called you Josh. I'm so sorry. As Justin mentioned, we have a Patreon now. We won't cover all the tiers. You can go follow us there at Overdue for Extinction. We have, in addition to the tiers where you can get shout-outs, merch, all of that, it's all covered. The benefits range in each tier. You can also listen to all of the old episodes of the podcast when Russ and I were doing it for free. You don't have to subscribe, so you can go over there and listen to those there. And we have a what's TikTok? That's the big thing that fucking rules the world right now. I can't remember TikTok.
Unless you live in Montana right now, and then you're being limited to your use because they're spying on us. Continue.
Indeed. Yeah, so if you're not concerned about the TikTok having access to your Wi-Fi like some of our elderly senators are, you can follow us on there at Overdue for Extinction as well. I keep saying we don't have anything to post, but I am working on making a clip out of episode 3, so you can see that. I have plans, not a lot of free time, and that's where the issue lies. But we'll get stuff on there eventually. Just subscribe so that you can be the first to see it when we do. I think that's it, right? For the social medias for the podcast. I don't think we have anything else. We certainly don't have an OnlyFans yet. Those of you who keep wishing, continue to do so. Maybe you'll manifest it into reality.
All right. Maybe it'll be another Patreon tier. Like I said, if you want a pair of my dirty used boxers, just let me know, and I'll vac seal those up and send them right out.
Yeah, and if there's any interest in getting Lanky Frank sent to your loved one's house, let us know. We'll make it a Patreon tier too.
Absolutely.
As for myself, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I tend to forget Twitter exists, so I don't post a whole lot on there. At Unfeeling Dragon, all one word, spelled exactly how it sounds. I thought I was cool as shit when I came up with that name back in 2010, so I kind of kept it for everything as my usernames. But yeah, that about covers it. I think we're ready to get out of here and forget everything that we just talked about.
Absolutely. See y'all next week.
Yeah, all right. Be safe and be smart, unlike us. Goodbye.
Bye.
Overdue for extinction.